motive, means, factored in with the physical evidence, pointed directly at Miss Reed. No one else had any motive. Mr. O'Keefe never went inside Fairview Road.
And you got all that, of course, from the Alberts and the McCabes, right?
Yes.
Objection.
Too late. He answered. Does that make me a bad person? I want to beat out of this man. And by the way, why does he have such a giant water bottle with him? Liars' throats dry up. Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to your favorite show on the internet, Raw Law Unfiltered, with your favorite host of all time. That's me, the DUI Guy Plus. Today, we are going to continue with our saga of the Michael Proctor cross-examination in the Karen Reed murder trial. Now, folks, Michael Proctor, for those of you who don't know, was the lead investigator in the Karen Reed case. Karen Reed is accused of murder of John O'Keefe, her boyfriend at the time. All the evidence is pointed to the fact that John O'Keefe was in the house at 34 Fairview. They wanted to make sure Jennifer McCabe and Brian Albert, as we like to call them, the McAlberts, the two families, the mafioso that run Canton, that John O'Keefe never went inside the house. And they even texted each other. Brian Albert and Brian Higgins and Jennifer McCabe, all of them were texting back and forth just to make sure, don't forget, and Matthew McCabe, of course, as well, Jennifer's husband, that he never went inside the house. Tell them to tell the guy that he never went in the house. And who is he? John O'Keefe. John O'Keefe absolutely went inside the house. We are absolutely convinced of that at this point. The injuries on his arm are that of a canine dog. That was Chloe, who was given away, unfortunately, or killed. We don't know. The prevailing theory is after the fight was over, they drug John O'Keefe's lifeless body. He was still breathing. They drug him out to the back, dragged, and they Googled how long does it take for a person to die in the cold. And after it was confirmed that John O'Keefe's body was lifeless, there was no pulse, they dragged his body to the front of the house and dropped him off there sometime in the morning hours, maybe at 3 a.m., 4 a.m., 5 a.m. And we know that with the testimony from Lucky, who testified just this past week. I believe it was on Monday. He testified for the defense. He was the snowplow driver, and he was clearing snow at the morning hours of January 29th, early morning hours, 3 a.m., 4 a.m., 5 a.m., and John O'Keefe's body was not there. And he knows the house at 34 Fairview. He grew up with these people. It's a small town. Everybody knows everybody. And so it calls into question everything that we've heard about this trial and at this trial. The McAlberts have clearly set it up. They wanted a conviction for somebody other than themselves, and now we are ready for the continuation of the Michael Proctor saga. This is episode number 5. Let's go.
Let's take a look at your handwritten notes from your interview with Juliana Nagel on October 5th, 2022. This should be tab 7. Proctor. Oh,
What is it for identification?
my mistake. I thought it was in the tab. It's not. This is a 3-page document. I'll just refresh his recollection with this.
Okay, show Mr. Lally and then go ahead.
Of course. Let me ask a foundational question, Trooper Proctor. Do you remember exactly what's in your notes from a conversation that you had on October 5th, 2022?
And by the way, this is proper questioning. This is exactly how you're supposed to ask. First, you ask a foundational question. Do you remember what's in your notes from October whatever? If the answer is yes, I do, well, then you go straight into questioning. And so you know that because they have a memory of it. Or if they don't remember, well, you are able to refresh their recollection. You show them the notes and you go, does that refresh your recollection? You take the notes back and then you ask the question again. In that interview, October 20 whatever, you asked the question, and this was the answer that was given to you, correct? Yes, or no, or whatever.
I don't know.
Do you think it would refresh your recollection
There it is.
To take a look at your handwritten notes?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
This was day 23 of the Karen Reed trial. We had a total of 31 days of testimony, or maybe 30, and 4 days of deliberation so far by the jury.
Take a look at that. And first, let me just ask you if that refreshes your recollection.
It does, sir.
Are those your notes, your handwritten notes from this, at least from partially from this investigation?
Yes.
Does that reflect your handwritten notes based on a conversation that you had with Juliana Nagel on or about October 5th, 2022?
He's reading the notes now. From his interview with Julie Nagel. All right, he's done.
May I, Your Honor?
Yes.
Does this appear to be an accurate representation or an accurate copy of your notes from your interview with Juliana Nagel?
Yes.
Your Honor, with the court's permission, I changed my mind. I would like to have this marked as next.
I can't
Introduced
s-
into evidence?
Correct.
I can't stand
An
this man's
objection?
face.
Yes, Your Honor.
And the objection sustained.
Is it true that in your
Objection.
handwritten notes, you list the following individuals based on Juliana Nagel's conversation with you as being at 34 Fairview? Brian, Juliana, Mary Kent, Emily Fabiano, Courtney Alba, Colin Albert, and Sarah Levinson. Correct?
Correct.
You then drafted a report memorializing your conversation with Juliana Nagel, correct?
Yes.
And that report is a formal memorialization of your interview based on your investigation, correct?
Yes, a summary of the conversation with the interview.
And that report is the thing that's turned over to the Commonwealth, correct?
Yes.
And the report is the thing that's entered into discovery and provided to the defense.
Correct.
And isn't it true that in that report, you list the individuals that were at 34 Fairview as Brian, Mary Kent, Emily Fabiano, Sarah Levinson.
Oh, did he leave a name out?
Is that correct?
Yes.
What's the one name that was left out of your report on that list?
Objection.
I'll allow, was there one name left out?
The,
Break that down, Mr. Jackson.
Sure. Isn't it true that in your report, you excluded the one name, Colin Albert, from the list of individuals that were in your notes?
yes, because he arrived later in the evening. The other females were there from the start.
At the time that you wrote your report,
What?
formal report, this one, you did not believe that your handwritten notes were also going to be disclosed, did you?
Oh.
I knew that was a possibility.
Oh, God. Oh, that's so good.
When you finally did get around to interviewing Colin Albert, you personally conducted that interview, did you not?
Yes.
Colin
Along
Albert
with Trooper
told you
Zach
this-
Clark.
One at a time. I didn't-
I'm sorry.
Finish your answer, Trooper.
Please go ahead.
Yes, along with Trooper Zach Clark in my office.
Colin Albert told you that he was picked up by Allie McCabe from his uncle's house at 12:10 a.m., correct?
Correct.
Allie McCabe also told you that she picked up Colin Albert at 34 Fairview at 12:10 a.m. and then dropped him off at his house, correct?
Correct.
And then she indicated that she went straight home after that, right?
Yes.
Did you conduct any further investigation to determine whether Colin Albert and Allie McCabe were actually telling the truth about that time?
We did not.
You just took them at their word, correct?
Yes.
Trooper Proctor, you realize that you had a forensic image at the time. You had a forensic image of Jennifer McCabe's cell phone in your possession, right?
Correct.
You're also aware that she has a Life 360 app on her phone that
Yes.
tracks the location
Yes.
of Allie McCabe, correct?
I was not aware the app tracked her daughter. I knew
What?
of the Life 360 app,
What?
but I wasn't aware of the capability of her.
You're
Tracking
joking.
her
That's the whole
daughter.
purpose
Did you
of the
bother
app.
to look at Jennifer McCabe's Life 360 app to determine whether Colin Albert and Allie McCabe were telling the truth about the time that they supposedly left 34 Fairview?
Objection.
Did you do that on loan?
I did not.
Can we take a look at tab 8?
Wow. Oh, he's so uncomfortable.
Do you recall looking at all at a Life 360 app or its data from Celebrate Report?
Objection.
Sustained.
Did you or did you not look at any data from Life 360 from Jennifer McCabe's phone?
Objection.
All right, so this is a good time to take the morning recess, and I'll see counsel in 15, 20 minutes, Julie. All right, Mr. Jackson, whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Your Honor. Trooper Proctor, did you include in your investigative file any Celebrate Report related to the Life 360 app that was on Ms. McCabe's phone that you earlier testified to?
Trooper Garino was our cell phone expert, kind of handled that, so I'm not positive if that report, if he generated that report.
Okay, so it goes without saying, I shouldn't say that because if it goes without saying, I shouldn't say it. Did you review a Life 360 report in an effort to determine whether or not Colin and Allie were telling the truth?
No.
You grew up in Canton, did you not?
Yes.
I don't want an address, but just generally as a crow flies, how close would you say you live from the Albert residence at the former Albert residence at 34 Fairview in Canton?
2-3 miles.
How about from the McCabe residence? And again, don't give me any addresses.
Maybe a mile.
You know, given the fact that you grew up in Canton, that it's about a mile walk through some woods to get to Canton High School from 34 Fairview, correct?
Yes.
Did you have any Canton police officers canvass the area around the high school or filling stations around the high school, gas stations around the high school for video surveillance footage?
No.
Did you have any conversations with anybody from Canton about video surveillance concerning the high school and or surrounding gas stations?
Yes.
Who is that?
It was Officer Galanis.
Can you turn to tab 9, please? First, let me ask you if you recognize these texts with any individual.
Yes, I do.
How do you recognize those texts?
That was a text communication between Officer Galanis and myself.
Taking a look at those text communications, do you see the inclusive dates of those on the face sheet
Yes,
document?
I do.
What are those inclusive dates?
First message sent, date and time, February 18th, 2022, 1:02 p.m. Last message sent, date and time, February 18th, 2022, 2:05 p.m.
These are texts on a single day, correct?
That's correct.
If you would look at page 2623. Your Honor, may I publish?
Is there any objection?
Same one, but
I'll let you publish it.
Thank you. Yes, you may publish. In this text, you're asking a member of the Canton Police Department to look around the surrounding area of 34 Fairview Road for camera equipment, correct?
I was asking if they had any knowledge of cameras in the area.
Okay. And of course, that was to an officer who was employed by which department?
Canton Police Department.
Which you knew at the time that you asked for assistance in February of 2022 had been recused from the case, correct?
Correct.
And should have no investigative involvement in the case, correct?
I did not request for them to pull video. I just simply asked, what are some good cameras in the area?
Which is an assistance for you in your investigation, correct?
They have more knowledge in the area as far as useful cameras. So yes, I reached out regarding cameras in the area.
Or assistance from Canton PD officers, correct?
Yes.
Whom you knew to be recused.
Yes.
Correct? Yes. You specifically asked Officer Galanis whether, quote, the high school had cameras facing the street, correct?
Correct.
And Officer Galanis writes back, the Canton Mutual gas station has unreal cameras. That's how I picked up that kid, and it had him walking into the woods by the new Street Larkin Court, correct?
Correct.
You responded, good to know, I'll add that to the list, correct?
Yes.
Did any of the reports you turned over in discovery ever mention the Canton Mutual gas station cameras or the cameras from Canton High School?
No, because we did not retrieve any video from those locations.
And you didn't mention in your report that you even sought the footage from those locations, correct?
Yeah.
I don't believe so.
You did
That
say
would
that
hurt
you
your
added
case.
to the quote list. Is that right?
Yes.
And you're aware, obviously, as a responsible.
And when I say hurt your case, I mean hurt your case in convicting the McCalberts, not helping in convicting Karen Reed, of course. That's why he never got them, because he doesn't need them. He doesn't want them. He wants a conviction on Karen Reed, not the McCalberts, not Colin Albert. He has been so dying to keep outside the house.
You're aware, obviously, as a responsible, as one of your responsibilities, to maintain and keep your handwritten notes from all communications, all investigative activities involved in the case, correct?
Yes.
And you have no notes on this conversation, correct?
Correct.
Oh. Damn. Burned.
As the lead investigator, Trooper Proctor, you are responsible ultimately for deciding which witnesses will be interviewed and which witnesses will not be interviewed, correct?
Like I mentioned yesterday or Monday, it's a collaborative effort within the office, so we bounce ideas off each other as far as what witnesses need to be interviewed, etc. So it's more of a group effort and a group decision.
But as the
And by the way, why does he have such a giant water bottle with him? That's another thing. Have you noticed, like, both Jennifer McCabe, she had a giant, like, what do you call them, tumblers with her. He's got an entire, like, 2-liter bottle down there. Liars' throats dry up. When you lie, they used to do it as a medieval torture exercise, actually. They would, before somebody would go up to testify, they would give them like a handful of dry rice. They would make them put the rice in their mouth and then take it out and then testify, and that no water would be given to these witnesses. So if you're telling the truth, you're going to get saliva. Saliva will be created in your mouth, and your throat and your mouth will be salivated. But if you are lying, then your mouth would be parched and you would be thirsty, and the rice would make you even more thirsty, the dry rice. And so I kind of find it ironic that every 5 minutes he's reaching for that giant water bottle that's supposed to last him for like 3 days of cross-examination. In this case, I think it was 2, but besides the point, he came prepared to be hydrated AF, if you know what I'm saying.
The case officer, you make some of the final decisions on who's going to be investigated, who's going to be interviewed, things of that nature, right?
Yeah, facilitate certain areas, yes.
I want to talk about some of the witnesses that you interviewed in the days and weeks immediately following Mr. O'Keefe's death. You interviewed Brian Albert, correct?
Correct.
Nicole Albert, yes?
Yes.
Chris Albert,
Yes.
Julie Albert,
Yes.
Jennifer McCabe,
Yes.
her husband Matt McCabe.
Correct.
All those individuals are related in one way or another, either through marriage or otherwise, to each other, correct?
Yes, that's my understanding.
And you also interviewed Brian Higgins, is that right?
Yes.
I want to talk for a second about the individuals that you did not immediately choose to interview. Julie Nagel wasn't interviewed until October 2022, correct?
Correct.
That's 7 months after the incident, right?
Correct.
Sarah Levinson
It's
was
like 9
not
months.
interviewed until October of 2022, also 7 months later, correct?
Correct.
Caitlin Albert was interviewed July 6th, 2023, correct?
Wow.
Yes.
That's 16 months after the incident. Is that right?
Correct.
Brian Albert Jr., July 6th, 2023, right?
Yes, sir.
Allie McCabe, August of 2023, correct?
Yes, sir.
That's 18 months after the incident, correct?
Correct.
Heather Maxson, she was not interviewed until September 21st, 2023, 17 months later, correct?
Correct.
Or that's actually, my math is off, that's about 18 months later, is that right?
Correct.
Richard D'Antano, September 2nd, 2023, is that right?
Yes.
So you waited more than 18 months to interview him as well, is that right?
Yes.
And then Brian Loughran, snowplow driver, August 2023, 17 months after the incident, correct?
Correct.
I want to talk for a second about this last individual, Brian Loughran. He also goes by the name Lucky, is that right?
Yes.
Lucky Loughran? You
Oh,
testified
and by the
under oath.
way, Lucky was the one that the Commonwealth chose not to call because he was the only witness to this whole incident who's not only not related by blood, marriage, or friendship, he also did not see, as I mentioned just a minute ago at the beginning of this video, he did not see John O'Keefe's body near the house, in front of the house, in the early morning hours of January 29th. That is huge. Let's see what Jackson does with that. Because remember, at this point in the trial, Lucky has not testified yet. The Commonwealth never called him. The government never called him as a witness. The defense had to call him because he's so favorable to the defense. Because he is an unbiased witness. Everyone else, every single person the Commonwealth has called is a biased witness. Every single one. Think about that.
1st, 2022, in the state court grand jury proceeding, that no snowplow traveled down Fairview Road on January 29th, correct?
Correct.
Why did you say that, Trooper Proctor?
That was based off interviews with Mr. Trotter that the plows weren't out until they met up at 2:30. And then it was my understanding they were focusing on the main roadways.
You're aware that Michael Trotter testified in this case?
Okay.
Were you aware or not?
No.
Okay. You did, in fact, interview Michael Trotter, did you not?
Yes.
And isn't it true that Michael Trotter told you that, in fact, Brian Loughran was plowing 34 Fairview that morning?
Objection.
Is that what he told you?
I don't recall that statement from him.
Oh, of course not. Doesn't help you.
Michael Trotter testified that that's what he told you. Do you have any quarrel with that?
Objection.
That's sustained.
In reality,
It's a good
Trooper
question,
Proctor,
but it's
you did
objectionable.
not want to speak to anybody in the weeks and months following this incident who didn't fit your narrative, correct?
Bam!
Objection.
Objection, of course.
I'll allow it.
Oh, she's gonna allow it?
That's simply not true. Absolutely not.
Certainly, you didn't want to talk to anybody who could say that there was no body on the lawn at 2:30 in the morning.
There
Is
you
that
go.
right?
No, it's not true.
Are you aware
But
that
it is
Lucky
true.
Loughran, in fact, did report that there was nobody on
Objection,
the
Your
lawn
Honor.
at 2:30?
So the objection sustained. I'm going to strike that.
Did you include anything in your investigative report throughout the entire time you've been in charge of this investigation about Lucky Loughran and his observations?
Not until Sergeant Mechanic and I interviewed him.
And that was when?
I can't recall the exact date.
And that was after the defense brought him to your attention, correct?
Objection.
Oh.
I'll allow it.
Not true?
Correct.
Oh my god, that is huge. It's only when Michael Proctor was informed that, oh, by the way, the defense has their hands on Lucky Loughran, the snowplow driver, who is going to testify, as we now know, that there was no body on the lawn on the early morning hours of January 29th at 34 Fairview. Only then Michael Proctor was like, oh yeah, I guess that did happen. Duh. This guy makes me, like, I want to beat his head against that wooden plank over there. Does that make me a bad person? Does that make me a bad person? I want to beat the crap out of this man? Tell me in the comments, chat. It's just, I am so disgusted by that conehead. I'm sorry.
Are you still the case agent in charge of this case?
Yes.
Unfortunately.
As the lead investigator and the case agent, you're aware it's also your responsibility and your obligation to investigate all potential individuals, right? All potential suspects.
Yes.
You're obligated to investigate anybody who would have a motive, a means, and an opportunity to commit the crime or the offense, correct?
Correct.
Motive includes anything from financial gain to could just be revenge, right?
Yes.
Could be a lover's quarrel, correct?
Yes.
Or it could be someone who's interested in someone romantically, correct?
Could be an argument inside of a vehicle.
Sorry, I didn't hear that. Could you? What
I
was your
didn't hear
answer?
him.
So, or it could be an argument contained inside a vehicle as well.
Ah, yeah, which is the conclusion you jumped to 17 hours into your investigation, right?
Objection.
Overruled.
Is that right?
It's
Oh my God, he's looking for words. What a liar.
Evidence we have contained within cell phones reiterates that fact.
When you decided that you were going to make sure that the girl, I think that's what you called her, the girl, was going to have serious charges brought against her 17 hours into your investigation, you didn't have any evidence whatsoever that there was an argument inside the vehicle, did you?
To go towards intent, no. But as far as the physical evidence goes, we have compelling evidence indicating Miss Reed struck Mr. O'Keefe with her vehicle.
So you just did
Okay,
this.
Mr. Jackson, I just have to keep your voice up, Trooper Proctor, okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
Go ahead.
You just did this piecemeal. So when you decided that the girl, Miss Reed, was going to get serious charges against her, didn't have any indication of any intent, you just decided, oh, okay, I'm just going to go with the physical evidence today. I'll figure out intent later. I'll figure out motive later. Right?
Yes.
Wow. Somebody just laugh in the courtroom?
Motive, means, and opportunity. We've talked a little bit about motive. What about means? The physical ability to commit the crime, right? That's obviously important.
Yes.
And the opportunity. It's a physical proximity to the incident, correct? Or the
Correct.
physical ability to commit the crime, correct?
Correct.
Did you investigate all potential suspects who would have had the motive, means, and opportunity to kill John O'Keefe?
Oh, that's a great question. Motive, means, and opportunity.
Yes, and that motive, means, factored in with the physical evidence pointed directly at Miss Reed. There's no one else had any motive. Mr. O'Keefe never went inside Fairview Road.
And you got all that, of course, from the Alberts and the McCabes, right?
Yes.
Objection.
Well,
I'll allow it.
too late. He answered. Lally is trying, Lally is reaching, but he's failing. Well, thank you all for joining me, folks. I hope you learned something. I hope you liked what you saw in my commentary. I mean, this man, I swear, he's got the most punchable face I just can't. I can't. He's got the most punchable face that I have ever seen. How he's lying through his teeth, how he's protecting the McCalberts. He's probably going to get promoted when this is all over. He should be fired and charged criminally, if not at least civilly. But he will probably get promoted because it's a corrupt place with corrupt cops and corrupt families, and they all protect each other. It's a very, very small place. And it's not beyond us to just have a veil of protection for all of these people. And it is disgusting, but unfortunately, it is reality. Now, this is going to premiere on Sunday, June 30th. We are here just several days before the 4th of July. I do not anticipate that the jury deliberations will continue beyond 4th of July holiday. That seems almost impossible. So hopefully tomorrow we are finally going to have a verdict on this case, okay? Tomorrow, July 1st, I am banking on it. Fingers crossed. It's going to be day 5, hour 22 of deliberations for the jury, and they've already come back hung once, so they're either gonna hang again, and the judge is gonna have to give them an instruction pursuant to Rodriguez, Toohey, and Allen. The 3 seminal cases, 2 are from Massachusetts, 1 is the United States Supreme Court case, telling the jury that you need to go back and deliberate and reach a decision, please. And she's supposed to be talking to the minority at that point, and the minority, again, I believe, are split 11-1, 11 in favor of acquittal, 1 in favor of conviction. It's either a bought juror or just a juror that's really, really, really thick, or maybe believes the government to no end. Maybe that's why 11 of them seem to be so frustrated with the 1. So hopefully tomorrow we're gonna have a verdict, and I will see you all in the next video tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern. Bye, everybody.